in your third book, we go from ancient Egypt to outer space.
Yes.
So Parker Plum is in the Intergalactic Space Detective. Tell us about this one.
So the story starts out, Parker gets his favorite comic book in the mail, and it's Max Mayhem, Intergalactic Space Detective. And as he's reading the comic, he's kind of thinking about some situations at school and some uncommon behaviors that he sees going on in the classroom. And Parker likes to help. He's a helpful kid, but sometimes he doesn't know the right way to help. So he goes on an adventure with Max Mayhem, who kind of teaches him when he needs to step in, maybe ask an adult for help, and when he kind of needs to step back and accept that, whatever's going on is their business and not his. So that's the gist of the story.
Well, and really good concrete strategies to use. Questions for kids to ask themselves. Is it safe?
Right.
Should it really bother me? No. If it's an unsafe situation, then yes, get help. But if it's not, then there's probably a reason for it, and it's not any of your business. And just those important questions that really raise that level of help to develop that critical thinking of, okay, let me analyze this situation. And generalize skills to different situations. And that's where he got into quite a few little situations figuring this out through his book. I'm sure it started at home and went all the way to school of the science experiment. That was so funny, of where he was just trying to help. And, that's something where a lot of kids struggle with, that of figuring out, well, I'm trying to help, but where are the boundaries? What questions should I be asking myself?
So when I was working at an elementary school, I know that there were definitely certain situations in which kids maybe had questions about things that weren't really their concern. And you had to come up with kind of a creative, nice way of, letting them know you appreciate that they care and that they're a good student and a helper in the classroom, but they should be more focused on, something else. And I think that's something that every teacher out there has experienced at some point. And now you have a book that can kind of help guide you in that direction or help the kids kind of understand.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought with developing that compassion and understanding, again, very high level skills, high level concepts that are hard to help develop and figure out how to teach in that way in a classroom. And I really liked the tips on of when the teacher was talking to Parker, he was asking questions about some students' behavior, and it was, I'm really glad that you're asking a question, but the real question should be, how can I help? Not why is this happening, but is there anything I can do to help? I can help, or that type of thing. So it makes that it develops that compassion and that understanding and that acceptance in kids, and helps them. I think, and I love the tips at the end of the book, where each of your books have wonderful tips for parents, educators, counselors on all of the lessons of learning to look on the bright side, of developing those feelings of being happy with yourself, and then that compassion and empathy and understanding in this book. And fantastic tips.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love you. I love Parker and the books, and they're. I really have to say, I mean, with along the stories and the imagination and adventure, because I don't want to give too much away, but Parker wants to become an intergalactic space detective, and he has some beings from outer space visit him in his house, and so he has quite the adventures in every story.
Right. And, I think that's more me, because I just genuinely enjoy kind of sci-fi, supernatural fantasy. And even as a kid, I grew up reading a lot of L.J. Smith and Christopher Pike, and, the old Twilight Zone episodes were very popular and still are with me. And so I think that's just my personality.
Well, and and that's fun too, because that gives the parents, because I can think of, one of my favorite shows was Battlestar Galactica, and even in Buck Rogers, and I mean, I can really age myself of some of those shows, but they're very fun, and again, that lesson built into a fun, entertaining, imaginative adventure is one of the best ways to learn, because you're going to walk away with, when you shut the end of the story, it was not just, wow, that was really cool what happened with Parker and his adventure, and the Intergalactic Space Detective came to his room, and he helped him catch the space robot, but on top of all of that, he also learned a wonderful lesson about compassion and understanding, and learned how to navigate different social situations.
Right. And at the end of the day, my goal as an author is to provide, a really fun story that anybody would just like to pick up and read, and have that bonus of, oh, wow, there's a message and there's a little lesson to be learned as well. So that was my goal when I was writing these stories.
Yeah, was looking through some stuff today, and we actually had created an ad for some Boys Town Press books, and it was teach social skills in a fun and entertaining way, and kids won't even know what you're doing. And that's definitely with your books, when you put them down, you walk away with not only the fun and entertaining story, but that lesson, and I'm it just happens because it's a great overall package.
Thank you. Thank you so much.